Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen, 1975. Now, back in the 70s, I'd journey up to London, to Leicester Square, for near the station was a great little record shop, Revolver Records. Now, to get to the actual shop, you had to walk through a little clothes boutique and down some winding steps to this tiny little record shop in the basement. Now, if they had more than 6 people, it was crowded and you had to wait outside. But it was a lovely little record shop run by a fantastic tall blonde guy whose name escapes me now. Now, back in 1975, the summer of 1975, I'd never heard Bruce Springsteen. Sure, I'd read all that stuff in the press that he was a future rock and roll, and I'd read some great concert reviews, but I'd never actually heard the guy. Now, on a little display shelf at the back of this shop, the owner would put up his album of the week. And this particular Saturday, it was Born to Run by Bruce. Now, I'll always remember looking at that cover, that iconic image of Bruce leaning on Clarence Clemons, that beautiful black and white cover. It just said to me, it screamed to me, this is an album you just have to have. So after much toing and froing and deliberation, I gave the guy my £2.50, and I took a leap of faith. So what did I find when I finally got that record home and put it on the turntable? Well, halfway through track 1, Thunder Road, I thought, I've got a good album here. By the end of track 2, 10th Avenue Freeze Out, I knew I'd got a great album. Now, since that Saturday in the summer of 1975, I must have listened to Born to Run hundreds and hundreds of times, and my love for the album hasn't diminished one little bit. So what makes Born to Run such a great album? Well, first off, the wonderful musicians involved. On drums, we have Max Weinberg. Now, Max is a very underrated drummer. Very powerful, but keeps things very tight and very controlled. Doesn't waste anything. On this album, his drumming reminds me a lot of one of his heroes, Levenhelm from the band. On bass, we have Gary Tallent, another very underrated musician. Never does anything over the top, never flashy, just does what's needed within the context of a song. Now, Max and Gary together provide a wonderful, wonderful rhythm section. And you know what? You'll hardly ever hear their names mentioned. When people mention great rhythm sections in rock, they will never talk about Max Weinberg and Gary Tallent. But they are a great, great rhythm section. They are the bedrock of the E Street Band. On organ and glockenspiel, Danny Federici. Danny's organ fills are a key component in the overall E Street Band sound. On piano, organ and again on glockenspiel is Professor Roy Bittan. Bittan's wonderful piano playing on this album is a highlight for me. The record abounds with his riffs and gorgeous melodies. On sax, the big man himself, Clarence Clemons. Now, when Springsteen and Clemons first played together, they just knew this chemistry between them was something special. Now, Clarence Clemons' sax playing is another reason why this album sounds so damn good. It's just one great solo after another. And those solos sound like they're dredged up from the very depth of his soul. And when he's not playing solos, he's adding so much to the huge sound that the band create. Bruce himself on lead guitar and vocals. And for me, here, his voice has never sounded better. Raw and full of emotion. Now, when I first bought this album, I just fell in love with Bruce's guitar on that cover. Now, I thought it was a Fender Esquire, because that's what it said on the neck, but found out later it was only a Fender Esquire neck with a modified Fender Telecaster body. Springsteen bought that guitar in 1973 for $185 and toured with it for over 40 years, until it grew too frail to stand up to the rigours of constant touring. Bruce said by then it had just become part of him. It wasn't like he was strapping on a guitar. It was like it just become part of him. That old beat up guitar is now worth anything between $1 million and $5 million. Bruce said that guitar gave him just the sound he was looking for. It was a versatile instrument. I was looking for something that was tilting more towards soul music, and I wanted a guitar that could handle that feeling. Bruce added, I've held it aloft to the audience on thousands and thousands of nights, I suppose with the idea that it says something about the power of rock and roll and the power of us. Born to Run kicks off with Thunder Road, just Bitan on piano and Bruce on lonely sounding harmonica. Springsteen said he considered Thunder Road as an invitation to the album. He said something is opening up. It would be the possibility of a larger life, a greater experience waiting out there, and all possibilities were lying somewhere inside of you. Thunder Road has always seemed to me that the guy in the song has decided that he's just had enough. He's going away. He wants Mary to come with him, to pull away from the drudge and mundaneness of his life, and all possibilities lie out there somewhere on the highway. It's a town full of losers, and I'm pulling out of here to win. And on this track, the band's playing is just superb, building slowly in intensity to the song's finale. The nigh perfect drumming from Max Weinberg. Great bass lines from Gary Talent. That spidery Telecaster guitar from Bruce, and the just magnificent piano playing of Roy Bittan. And Bruce himself comes up with one of the greatest lines in rock and roll history. Well, I got this guitar and I learned how to make it talk. Track 2, 10th Avenue Freeze Out. A little intro with a few chords from piano, sax and guitar, a drum roll from Max Weinberg, and we're into the gorgeous 10th Avenue Freeze Out. Now, I've heard this song for over 45 years and it still generates that feel-good feeling in me. And my feet started tapping. It's just a classic. Bruce and the band sounding like they're just having a ball. Springsteen has said that this song is about the mythical formation of the E Street Band. Springsteen is Scooter and Clemens is the big man. But he still has no idea what a 10th Avenue Freeze Out is. But hey, who cares? It's a glorious, funky soul stomp with a wonderful punchy horn section. Rock and roll piano by Bittan and funky rhythm guitar, courtesy Bruce. It was actually Bruce's friend, Steve Van Zandt, who suggested and organised the wonderful horn section for this piece. So if you ever want to hear an affirmation of the power of rock and roll, just chuck this track on. Machine gun drumming and slashing guitar chords, and we kick off into Night. Now for the 3 minutes, the intensity of this song never lets up. Bruce somehow channeling the frustration and anger of working in a job that you hate, when all you want to do is just get out there and grab life by the balls and live your dreams. Well, all day they're busting you up on the outside, but tonight you're going to break on through to the inside, and it will be right, and it will be tonight, and you know she'll be waiting there, and you'll find her somehow, you swear, somewhere tonight. You'll run sad and free till all you can see is the night. Next up, track 4, the magnificent Backstreets. With a piano intro from Roy Bittan, accompanied just by Bruce on guitar and Gary Talent on bass, a slow, stately intro into the greatest piano riff you will ever hear. Springsteen has said that the song is about his youth, his early loves, the beach, the nights on the beach, the friendships, the feeling of being an outcast and living so far away from things in this little outpost in New Jersey. Springsteen sings like he's putting his heart and soul into every line. You will find very few songs in rock music that are this raw and visceral. At the end of verse 3, after the line, "But I hated you and I hated him when you went away," Springsteen seems so overcome with emotion that the words won't come anymore, and he's reduced to a howl of pain and frustration. And when that's gone, he crunches out a gut-torn guitar solo. In anyone else's hands, this could all seem over the top and pretentious, but not here. Laying in the dark, you're like an angel on my chest, just another tramp of hearts, crying tears of faithlessness. Remember all the movies, Terry, we'd go and see, trying to learn to walk like the heroes we thought we had to be. And after all this time we find we're just like all the rest, stranded in the park and forced to confess, to hiding on the back streets, where we swore forever friends, on the back streets until the end. Side 2, and we open with Born to Run. Now Springsteen said of this song, it was my shot for the title. I wanted to write a classic song, one that encompassed my generation's hopes and dreams. Well, he certainly did that. It's a powerful driving rocker with its signature Dwayne Eddy guitar riff. Baby, I'm just a scared and lonely rider, but I gotta know how it feels. I wanna know if love is wild. I wanna know if love is real. I wanna die with you, Wendy, on the street tonight, in an everlasting kiss. We're gonna get to that place where we really wanna go, and we'll walk in the sun, but till then, tramps like us, baby, we were born to run. Next up, She's the One. Now this is a song about a girl who's massively attractive but cold-hearted and a liar. Your relationship with her just sends you through that emotional roller coaster day after day. But no matter where you sleep or how far you run, she's the one. She's the One in part feels like an old rock and roll song, especially with its Bo Diddley riff. Live Springsteen would often lead into She's the One after a Bo Diddley song. The song became a firm favourite live, but on this studio version, just check out the great funky drumming of Max Weinberg and another superb sax solo from Clarence Clemons. Next up, we have Meeting Across the River. Now this has always sounded like it should be a scene from a Martin Scorsese movie. You've got Roy Bittan on sombre piano, Randy Becker on trumpet, Richard Davis on double bass, and Springsteen on vocals. It's a tale of two deluded hustlers going across the Hudson River to do a deal. But these are two losers, and somehow you know this isn't going to work out well. Now Springsteen recorded this song in just an hour, and initially didn't like it at all, but was persuaded by Mike Apple to include it on the album, and I'm glad he did. And so we come to the album's finale, Jungle Land. Jungle Land starts with one of the best intros you'll ever hear, with Suki Lahav on beautiful violin and Bitton accompanying on piano. Springsteen then takes you through a 9-minute epic rock opera of gangs, love and betrayal on the streets of New Jersey. Springsteen describes Jungle Land as a spiritual battleground. The whole piece peaks with Clarence Clemons' beautiful extended sax solo, which in fact was pieced together from various takes by Springsteen himself. Clemons considers the solo the pinnacle of his partnership with Springsteen. Clemons also writes in his memoirs, that solo sounds just like making love. Jungle Land and the album closes with just Roy Bittan on piano and Springsteen's wordless vocals, almost like he said everything he wanted to say and there's nothing else to be articulated. A beautiful end to a beautiful record. When I went back and I did my research for this album, I thought I knew it inside out, but I felt that even after 45 years of listening, I was hearing new things. But one thing that was apparent is just what a great band the East Street Band were. Every player on this album puts in an amazing performance. So thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you again in the next video.